Hello, welcome to OnQA. In this session, we are going to talk about the differences between website and web service. So most of the times, people could be confused with what is a website and what is a web service. Now let me explain you the difference between website and web service so that we are very sure we understand the differences and we can be easily go with the web service testing efficiently. So let's get started. So what is a website and how this website is different from web service, or what is web service? How this is different from website? So website is a UI based, it's a front end, and it is mostly called as presentation layer, and all the websites have UI, and website contains web pages, web objects, web elements, web forms, and websites are designed with HTML pages, and mostly the websites are static. So website work as a communication media between end user and to the application server or database server. And websites have no methods. All the methods are written in some service orientations. The static website does not have any methods. User needs to submit the forms. User needs to navigate between the pages, and user needs to access the web pages. When we talk about a web service does not have any UI, and it is the logical tire. It is the business oriented. It is the business driven. And web service contains methods, functions, and web services are designed with XML. All the data present in the web services are XML based. It's a tag oriented. The first name, the last name, country, zip code, phone number. This is all tag oriented representation of XML pages. So all the web services would contain the data, contain the representation in the form of XML. And web services are dynamic because they work between the applications, they work among the applications, they work communication devices to other communication devices, they work across the web applications, they work on web. So these are, or web services are dynamic. So web services work as communication media between the various websites, between the electronic devices, and between the software, and between various systems over the globe or over the web. So these are dynamic. And web services have got methods in it, and users can access the web services and the methods and can make use of all the methods present in the web services by means of the XML format. And the web services can be accessed and implemented or tested with the get, put, delete, post kind of methodologies. So this is a simplest way to differentiate between a website and web service. So let me explain. So website has a UI and web services does not have any UI. So website is a front end, whereas the web services is a business style which is hidden. And website contains lots of web pages, web objects, and web forms, whereas web service does not contain any pages. It contains methods, it contains functions. Example, calculator. When I say web page, calculator is a website where there could be addition page, where there could be subtraction page, where there could be delete, or where there could be multiplication page, where there could be a division page. When it comes to web service, it's not page, it's a function. Add function, divide function, subtraction function, multiplication function, which is not a UI, which is a hidden functionality called methods. Websites are designed with HTML pages, hypertext markup language, whereas the web services are designed or implemented or accessed with the XML, extensible markup languages. All the data carried between application to application through the web services is in the form of XML. And websites are static. All the pages are static, whereas the web services are dynamic. And websites work as front-end communication media to the end user to represent the transactions, to represent the data, to represent the layers of application server or database server. Whereas the web services work as communication media between the systems, between application server, between the database server, between various systems, between various electron devices, between different software. And websites have no methods, whereas web services have lots of methods in them. And websites, user needs to navigate page to page, whereas in the web services, since they have methods, user can access any method. User can submit the data in the form of XML and can implement the methods present in web services. And web services can be accessed, represented, viewed, implemented by get, post, put, delete kind of methodologies. So let's go and see a little more. When we say website, it is the combination of presentation layer, and presentation layer is on top of the logic layer, which is on top of, or which is in the layer of database layer. The data can be stored in the database layer, and the logic between database layer and presentation layer is written in the logic layer on the logic tier, whereas nothing the database or nothing the logic can be shown to the end user except the presentation or except the UI. So when I say application, it is simple, nothing but the presentation layer. But whereas when we say the web service, it is the actual business implementation. When we say the web service, it is the actual implementation of data submission, of the methodology exposure, of the business implementation between the front end, between the application server, between the web server, between the database server. So web services are hidden. They can be exposed to the outer world, to the external world by means of the methods present in the web services. And to explain little more, web services are like engines. And to run this engine, they need the data. They need the data in the point of the XML file. So based on that, they process, they execute, they accumulate the results and provide. And to explain the differences between website and web services, website is like a software company, and this company might have lots of resources and lots of services. The resources in the point of software engineers, in the point of HR resources, the facilitator, the workers, the hardware resources, the infrastructure, and much more. When we say services, the human resource services, the financial services, the software resources, or the software services. So all these things together we call a software company. So website is like the combination of so many things, like a software company. So when it comes to web service, it is like individual service, a HR functionality, which might be needed in the software service, which might be needed in the facilitator service, which might be needed in the hardware service, which might be needed in another department. So web service is like a functionality which is a containing lots of methods in it, and these can be reusable, accessible in another systems, or accessible across the systems, or across the website, or in another website, or in multiple systems, or between the electronic devices. So this is the best example to understand. Website is like a software company, which has got so many segmentations, resources, services. Whereas web service is like a methodology, a functionality. Example, the HR functionality. The human resource functionality can be needed in the software, can be needed in the facilitation, can be needed in the hardware, can be needed in the infrastructure. Just like the way web services might be needed between the websites or between the web pages or between the electronic devices or between the systems over the globe. So that is the difference between website and web service. To explain you more, so web service is like a method, a program, an application which is used to communicate or to exchange data between two or more systems over the globe. So it needs data, it can process the data, and it can retrieve the data. So all the data can be represented in the web services by means of the XML representation. And if you look at this slide, the majority of API testing is considered to be in the business layer or in the logic tier. So this is all about the differences between website and the web services. When we say website testing, when we say application testing, it's a front end testing. We test the UI, we test the functionality, we test the forms, we test the objects, we test the submissions. When we say web services testing, we test the methods, we test the business logic, we test the different implementations, we test the XML files, we test the API, we test the business implementation between the application layer, between the database layer, between the presentation layer. So when we say the application testing, it is GUI testing. When we say the web services testing, it is the business layer testing. So this is all about the differences between website and web service. So thank you so much. Thanks for watching the video. So please visit earnq.com. So let me summarize what we have discussed in this session. In this session, we have understood and discussed about what is a website and what is a web service. And then we understood the differences between website and web services. So website is the combination of lot of things, lot of web pages, lot of web objects, elements, forms, images, and much. So when it comes to web service, it's like application, it's like a methodology, it's like a service which contains lot of functions. Example, calculator. A website can now add page or addition page, subtraction page, multiplication page, division page, because it's a front end, it's a UI. When it comes to a service, it does not have UI. It has functions, add. It has functions like a subtraction. It has a functions like division, where any user can access the calculator web service and implement those functions and make use of those functions. So we would see in the next sessions how we can use these web services to test and how we can use the SoapUI tool to automate the API testing, to automate the different web services. So thank you so much. Thanks for watching the video. Please visit earnq.com. There are so many videos, presentations, articles, books, and PDFs with respect to automation, test management, performance testing, and functional testing. So thank you so much and see you again.